You think your bedroom is the safest room in your life. It's where you recover, where you shut the world out, where you scroll until your eyes blur and tell yourself, one more minute. But statistically, the place you're most relaxed is also the place your guard is the lowest. And that's when ordinary objects get their best chance to hurt you, because the deadliest things in your bedroom don't look deadly. They look like comfort, convenience. I've done this 1,000 times. So in this video, we're counting down the 5 deadliest items in your bedroom right now, the ones people sleep next to, trip over, breathe in, or plug in without thinking, until the one night something goes wrong. For each one, I'll show you the exact moment it flips, why it flips, and the simple change that keeps good night from turning into call someone. And trust me, you do not want to miss number 1. Number 5, the cozy space heater, aka a fire that looks like a lifestyle choice. If you have a space heater in your bedroom, you already know the vibe. It's not just warmth, it's comfort with confidence. You turn it on and suddenly your room feels like a private little world where winter can't get in. Your blankets feel softer, your bed feels 10% more luxurious, and you start thinking, why don't I live like this all the time? And that's the setup, because a space heater is basically an open flame with better PR. Most heater disasters don't start with sparks flying or someone doing something cartoonishly reckless. They start with a normal night. You're cold, you're tired, you place it where it seems reasonable, and you tell yourself the same 2 lies everyone tells themselves. It's not touching anything, and I'll turn it off before I sleep. Then time does what time always does. Your bedroom is made of fuel, curtains, bedding, clothes, rugs, pillows, foam mattresses, dust. That chair that exists purely to hold a pile of not dirty enough to wash, not clean enough to hang back up. The point is, you've built a cozy little cave out of things that burn well, and you've placed a machine in the corner whose entire job is to pump out concentrated heat. So the danger usually isn't the heater malfunctioning like a movie scene. It's that everything around it shifts while you're not paying attention. A blanket doesn't leap onto the heater dramatically. It drifts, it slides an inch. The edge droops because gravity never takes nights off. A curtain doesn't throw itself into danger. It sways. Warm air rises, a door opens. You walk past. The heater itself pushes air around, and slowly, quietly, the distance between safe and touching disappears. And once fabric gets close enough, it doesn't need long. Some materials don't burst into flames first. They melt. They curl and shrink and turn into sticky, burning plastic that drops onto whatever's underneath it, spreading heat like it's trying to share the problem. Foam and synthetic fibers can ignite faster than people expect. And when they do, the smoke is often the real killer. That's the part people forget. Fire is dramatic. Smoke is sneaky. A bedroom fire at night doesn't always wake you up with flames. It can start with smoldering, a slow, dirty burn that fills the room with toxic smoke while you're asleep, when your body is least able to react. And smoke doesn't just irritate your lungs. It makes you confused, sluggish, and clumsy. It steals your ability to make clean decisions in seconds, which is a nightmare when you're half awake in a dark room trying to find a door. Now, even if you avoid the blanket drift scenario, space heaters have another silent way of turning on you: electricity. These things pull a lot of power. That's why they work. But high power means high stress on whatever you plug them into. Loose outlets, old wiring, cheap extension cords, overloaded power strips. That one plug that's been a little wiggly for 2 years, but you've been ignoring it because it still works. That's how you get heat where you can't see it. Inside the cord, inside the wall, behind furniture. No warning light, no dramatic moment, just a slow buildup until insulation degrades. Wiring overheats and the problem announces itself when it's already a fire. And yes, people love to say, mine has safety features, tip-over sensors, auto shutoff, modern design. But safety features aren't guarantees. They're backups. They can fail. They can be defeated by the exact thing you didn't predict. A blanket edge, a pet bump, a cord pinched under a bed frame. The heater placed closer than you realize because you were thinking about comfort, not physics. So here's how you stay warm without gambling. Treat a space heater like something that's allowed to become dangerous if you get casual. Keep it far from anything soft or fabric, not a little away, far away. Plug it straight into the wall, not a power strip, not an extension cord. Don't leave it running while you sleep, because the highest risk moment is when you're unconscious and can't react. And if you ever smell hot plastic, notice flickering power or feel the plug getting unusually warm. Don't monitor it. Unplug it. Because number 5 isn't about reckless people lighting their room on fire. It's about normal people choosing comfort and forgetting that comfort is exactly when danger gets quiet. And number 4 is worse, because it's something you put on your bed on purpose, believing it's harmless while it messes with your body for hours at a time. Number 4, your pillow and mattress, the comfort that turns your bed into an all-night exposure. This one feels almost rude to say out loud, because your bed is supposed to be the one place you recover. You wash the sheets, you fluff the pillows, you climb in like you've earned safety. And then you do the most vulnerable thing a human can do. You lay there for hours with your face pressed into fabric, breathing whatever lives in it. And what lives in it isn't always cute. Your pillow and mattress are basically sponges for your life. Sweat, skin flakes, oils, moisture from your breath, dust from the air, tiny particles you never notice landing on you all day. Night after night, it builds. And your bedroom doesn't need to look dirty for this to be happening. In fact, the cleanest looking beds can be the worst, because nothing looks wrong, so nothing gets changed. Here's the gross but important part. Dust mites love this. They don't bite you. They don't crawl around like horror movie villains. They just exist in soft fabric, feeding on the skin you shed naturally and leaving behind microscopic waste that becomes airborne when you move. Which means every time you roll over, fluff your pillow, or pull the duvet up to your chin, you're basically shaking a little cloud into your breathing space. For a lot of people, that's just annoying. You wake up stuffy, you sneeze, you think you're always a little congested. You blame weather, stress, harmattan, the AC, the universe. But for people with asthma, allergies, chronic sinus issues, or sensitive airways, this can turn into a nighttime problem that's genuinely dangerous. Because asthma doesn't always announce itself with a dramatic wheeze. Sometimes it shows up as waking up at 2 a.m. with a tight chest and a cough that won't settle. Sometimes it's that feeling like you can't get a satisfying breath. Sometimes it's your body working harder for oxygen while your brain is half asleep and slow to react. And that's why nighttime airway problems are scary. You're not fully awake to judge how bad it is. You can convince yourself you're fine while your breathing gets worse. You can delay help because you're groggy, embarrassed, or you keep thinking it'll pass. And if someone has a severe asthma flare in the middle of the night, minutes matter. This isn't meant to be fear bait, it's just real. Breathing issues are one of the few problems that can go from I'm uncomfortable to I need help now faster than people expect. And dust mites aren't even the only roommate. If your room is humid, if you dry clothes indoors, if there's a small leak, if the mattress sits on a surface that traps moisture, or if you live in a place where dampness is normal, mold can quietly join the party too. Mold doesn't need a dramatic green wall to exist. It can live in the mattress, under it, in pillows, in corners, and you'll never notice until your body starts reacting. So what's the fix without turning your bedroom into a laboratory? Treat your bed like what it is, something you breathe through for a third of your life. Wash bedding regularly and let sunlight and airflow do their thing when you can. Keep humidity down. If you wake up congested all the time, don't just accept it as your personality. And if your pillow is ancient and flat like it's seen war, it might be time to retire it with honor. Because number 4 is deadly. For the same reason so many bedroom risks are deadly. It's slow, it's quiet, and it feels normal. Next is the one people can literally touch from their pillow. And that proximity is exactly what makes the consequences so immediate. Number 3, your charger cables and power strip, the normal setup that can turn into a night fire. This one is almost unfair because it doesn't feel like a risk. It feels like modern life. Your phone is your alarm, your entertainment, your flashlight, your just-in-case lifeline. So of course you charge it next to your bed. Of course there's a power strip nearby because one wall socket is never enough. Phone, laptop, fan, maybe a diffuser, maybe a hair tool you swear you unplug most nights, and that's exactly why this is deadly. It's routine. The danger isn't your charger suddenly deciding to become evil. The The danger is heat, plus bad connections, plus time, and a bedroom gives that combination everything it needs. Start with the cords. Most people don't treat cables like equipment. They treat them like spaghetti. They get bent, crushed under bed frames, pinched behind furniture, folded at weird angles, tugged, twisted, rolled over by chairs, stepped on in the dark. And the outside can still look fine while the inside is breaking down. The copper strands weaken, the insulation thins, tiny fractures form, and once electricity starts arcing even slightly, heat follows. Now add the power strip situation. A lot of people buy the cheapest one they can find, then ask it to do the electrical version of carrying a family of 6 on a motorcycle. High-power devices plugged into the same strip, chargers stacked like a tower, plugs half in, loose connections. That little crackle sound you ignore. A strip sitting under a pile of clothes or behind curtains because it's out of sight. But electricity loves one thing: resistance. And loose connections create resistance. Resistance creates heat. Heat is where bad nights begin. And bedrooms are dangerous because of where people place these setups. Right next to fabric, on carpet, under the bed, beside the pillow, on a nightstand crowded with paper and skincare and random stuff you didn't mean to collect. People run cords under rugs to keep things neat. They tuck strips behind curtains. They hide adapters under blankets. They plug in their phone and then drop the cable where it lands, sometimes literally across their bed like a tripwire. Which brings us to the other way this kills people: falls. A charging cable across the floor at night is basically a booby trap you built for yourself. You wake up half asleep, you step out of bed, you're not fully awake, and your foot catches. And the thing about bedroom falls is you don't fall onto grass, you fall onto hard edges, bed frames, nightstands, corners, tile, concrete floors. It's the same, it was just a small slip story emergency rooms hear constantly, except at 1 a.m. when your body is slow and your reflexes are worse. But the fire risk is the headline, because when charging setups fail, they can fail quietly. Overheating doesn't always announce itself with a big spark. It can start as a warm plug, then a hot plug, then a melted adapter, then smoke. And if that smoke starts while you're asleep, you've now got the worst kind of emergency, one you don't wake up early enough to handle cleanly. People also underestimate how much heat some devices generate while charging, especially fast chargers, laptops, power banks, and anything with a lithium battery. Batteries aren't dangerous by default, but when they're damaged, cheap, old, or overheating, they can do something terrifying. They can fail fast. A battery fire is not like a normal fire. It burns hotter, it spreads differently, and it can keep going even when you think you've put it out. And the reason this sits at number 3 is simple. You do it every single night. You spend hours asleep while electricity is running through a setup. You haven't checked in months, sitting next to fabric, dust, and clutter. So what's the shift? Make your charging area boring. Give your power strip open air, not a clothing pile. Don't overload it. Replace cheap, damaged, or loose strips. Stop using frayed cords like they're still okay. If a cable is peeling, if a plug gets hot, if something crackles, if you have to wiggle it to work, that's not a personality quirk. That's a warning. And don't charge devices under your pillow or on your bed. Your bed is for sleeping, not slow cooking electronics. Because number 3 isn't about being paranoid. It's about not letting normal become the reason you don't notice the danger until it's already smoking. But the next one is scarier for a different reason. You won't smell it, you won't see it, and you might not even realize you're in trouble until your brain can't think straight. Number 2, the peace of mind problem. Carbon monoxide. You don't know you're breathing. This one is terrifying for one reason. It doesn't feel like danger. No burning smell, no choking smoke, no dramatic moment where your instincts scream, "Get out." It feels like being tired, like a headache, like a weird, heavy fog you can't quite explain. And if that happens in your bedroom, you don't treat it like an emergency, you treat it like a sign you should lie down, which is exactly how it kills people. Carbon monoxide is produced when fuel burns, so it doesn't come from obvious poison sources, it comes from normal life. Generators placed too close to a window, a car running in or near an enclosed space, a faulty gas heater, a poorly vented stove, a blocked chimney, a malfunctioning furnace, even a neighboring apartment's exhaust leaking leaking into your space. And here's the cruel part. You can have everything looking normal while carbon monoxide is building in the air, because it has no smell, no color, and no taste. You can breathe it for hours without realizing anything is wrong. And once it enters your body, it doesn't just irritate you, it replaces oxygen in your blood. You're literally suffocating while still breathing. The first thing it attacks is your brain. That's why the early signs are so easy to misread. Headache, dizziness, nausea, confusion, that weird feeling where you can't focus but you can't explain why. In a bedroom at night, those symptoms don't trigger panic. They trigger a normal thought. I'm exhausted. So people do the most dangerous thing possible. They stay in the room. They take a painkiller. They drink water. They scroll a bit. They decide to sleep it off. If there are two people in the room, they both feel off and assume it's something they ate, or stress, or the flu. If there's a pet, it often gets weak first, sometimes the only warning anyone gets. And carbon monoxide has a nasty psychological trick. It makes you worse at recognizing that you're in trouble. Your judgment fades while the danger increases. You don't think clearly enough to leave. You don't feel afraid, you feel slow. People have been found lying in bed, not because they chose to die, but because their brain ran out of oxygen and the room made it easy to give up without realizing it. That's why entire families have died from carbon monoxide in their sleep, not because they were reckless, because they were normal. Cold seasons can make this worse because people close windows, seal rooms, and run heaters longer. Anything that leaks exhaust into a tight space has more time to accumulate. And if you're using a generator during a power outage, the danger spikes fast because 1, it's outside, it's fine. Decision can turn deadly if fumes drift indoors through a window, vent, or doorway. So what do you actually do with this information without becoming paranoid? You respect the pattern. If multiple people in a home feel sick at the same time, headache, dizziness, nausea, sudden weakness, treat it like carbon monoxide until proven otherwise. Get fresh air first. Don't stand there debating. And if you don't have a working carbon monoxide detector near sleeping areas, that's not a later purchase. That's a survival purchase. Because number 2 is deadly in the most unfair way possible. It doesn't attack the reckless, it attacks the relaxed. And number 1 is the hardest one to accept because it's something many people keep by the bed for comfort, calm, or better sleep. And it's quietly linked to tragedies that happen every single night. Number 1, pills by the bedside, the small help that can end a night permanently. This is number 1 because it's the most common setup that turns deadly in the least dramatic way. A little bottle on the nightstand, painkillers, sleeping pills, anxiety meds, cough syrup, just in case tablets, maybe something a doctor prescribed, maybe something a friend gave you, maybe something you bought because you've been tired for weeks and you're done negotiating with your brain at 3 a.m. It feels responsible, it feels adult, it feels like you're taking care of yourself, and sometimes you are. But the bedroom is where medication becomes most dangerous because the two things that keep you safe, attention and judgment, are at their weakest. You're half awake, you're stressed, you're scrolling, you're emotional, you're in pain, you're trying to shut your thoughts off, and that's the perfect environment for the deadliest mistake, taking the wrong amount or taking the wrong combination without realizing it. Here's how it happens in real life. Someone wakes up and can't sleep, they take something light. It doesn't work fast enough, so they take a little more. They don't feel different immediately, so they assume it's safe. Or they take a pill after a drink because it's just one and they want to relax. Or they mix cold medicine with something else and don't realize both contain sedating ingredients. Or they take a dose in the dark, tired, not counting properly. Because they've done it before and it's never been a problem until the one night it is. Many common sleep aids, sedatives, and opioid pain medications slow breathing. Alcohol also slows breathing. Some antihistamines do too. Combine them and you don't just feel sleepy, your body can lose the ability to keep itself breathing normally while you're asleep. That's why so many overdose tragedies don't look like panic. They look like someone who simply didn't wake up. And it's not only overdoses, there's the child risk. A kid wakes up early, climbs onto a bed, grabs a colorful bottle because it looks like candy. There's the pet risk. There's the guest risk when someone stays over and doesn't know what's what. Bedrooms feel private and controlled, so people leave medication out in the open, and the open is exactly where accidents happen. Then there's the emotional risk, the one people don't like talking about. Your bedroom is where you're alone with your thoughts. It's where bad days land. It's where grief, panic, and hopelessness show up after the world gets quiet. And easy access changes outcomes, not because people are weak, but because crises are temporary and access makes them permanent. A rough night plus a reachable bottle is a dangerous combination. That's why this is number one. Not because medication is evil, but because the bedroom makes the margin for error razor thin. So the survival shift is simple and it's not dramatic. Treat medication like something that deserves friction. Keep it in a proper place, not scattered on your nightstand. Use a light, read labels. Don't mix sedating meds with alcohol. If you're using anything for sleep regularly, treat that like a signal, not a solution. Talk to a professional and get the root problem handled. And if you have kids in the house, lock it up every time, even if you're just stepping away. Because the deadliest item in your bedroom isn't the one that looks scary, it's the one that looks like help. And that's the uncomfortable truth. Your bedroom isn't dangerous because it's scary. It's dangerous because it's where you relax enough to stop paying attention. So don't try to change everything tonight. Just pick one thing from this list and fix it right now. Move the heater, clear the cords, check your detector, lock away the meds. One small change is all it takes to turn a maybe into a never happened. And I want to know which item on this list made you sit up like, wait, I literally have that next to me. If you want more videos that expose everyday dangers hiding in plain sight, hit subscribe and share this with the friend who thinks it'll be fine is a safety plan. See you in the next one.